I'm checking here, making sure everything is up and running and ready to go. We've got a few minutes before we actually start the show. I've got a different camera. Um, I'm going to try to check it out here before we get too busy here. Uh, let's see. What's this look like? Hello. I don't know if we'll do that one or not. Probably not. We'll get a different camera. We'll work on that. We got a little more time tomorrow. Hello. Thank you for clicking on. Again, we got a few minutes before this is like just checking things out here. I also have to do a little something over on YouTube real quick. Thank you for clicking on. Chris is going to join us in a few minutes. Our sit rep. Hang on. I've got the same. This video's got the same title as the last video with Chris. Okay, so we'll just go with it for now, and I will update. I will update it afterwards. Let me hop over to the chat real quick. Guy, how are you? I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking. Thank you for clicking on. And we're going to, let me make sure I've got everything up as far as screens. Yeah, okay. And I do. Hi, always be kind. Thank you for clicking on. With that being said, I'm going to drop the link up here. So when Chris comes on, he will, I hope, anyway. Hang on, there we go. Drop the link in here, and all right. Again, thank y'all for clicking on. Let's do the pre-roll and get the show going. Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. Hi, Foxy Lotus. Hello to everybody in the chat. Hello to everybody watching. And hello to those of you watching at your convenience. I greatly appreciate you clicking on. Couple of things before Chris gets here. Um, there was a pipeline and a pipeline and a communications cable that were both cut. Um, they were cut. The cables run from Finland to Estonia, right about across right here, and it was the NATO Secretary General promises a decisive response in case of sabotage of the gas pipeline in Finland. And the reports I've been getting are that not just anybody could have done what was done to the pipeline and to the fiber optic cable, communications cable that ran between Finland and Estonia. Whoever sabotaged it, whoever destroyed it, did so. They knew what they were doing. So this, kind of puts the onus on Russia. And Article 5 of NATO, one nation is attacked, all are attacked. And in this case, it would be Estonia and Finland. It would be two nations. Also, before Chris gets on, I've been hearing rumblings of Putin and a surprise attack in the Balkans, or I'm sorry, in the Baltic states. And that's not the only surprise attack I've been hearing rumors about. But just, we're going to be focusing on what's happening in the Middle East, but other things are happening in other places around the world, including still in Eastern Europe. With what's happening in the Middle East drawing so much attention, Putin is going to feel a little more at ease, and it takes a little pressure off of him. The world focus isn't on Eastern Europe. The world focus is on the Middle East, which also, we might remind you, China and Taiwan. If China's going to make a move on Taiwan, it would probably be wise to do so now that the United States is going to be as focused as we are in the Middle East. And the reason we're focused in the Middle East is not because it's because of oil. All right. It's because of oil. Let's just, in my opinion, that's just my opinion. So anyway, possibility of some, everything just seems to be escalating, and this would be an escalation if it proves to be true. And this is one more headline here, real quick. Has Putin committed an act of war against NATO? That was just my second source for this story. And let's see. Get back over here. Chris is not here yet. I never give up. Peace, love, and unity. Officer Mac, is there a link for Chris? Yes, there is. There's a link for Chris. I think, isn't it up there? Yeah, it's not at the top. Let me see if I can. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure out how to pin this. I started. It's pinned. Okay, so the link for Chris is pinned up to the top, and we'll get him up here momentarily. And in the meantime, I like to use maps because, sometimes people don't always understand exactly where things are and what things look like. There we go. And the BBC did a series of maps that I found should be helpful in giving people an idea of the area. And this is one of their maps. This is the map after the 82 Accord, after the Israel-Egypt peace treaty in 1982. The Golan Heights, you're going to be hearing about the Golan Heights, including from me. Lebanon, right up here, you're going to be hearing about Lebanon, including, from us tonight. Syria, basically Syria and Israel have agreed. Part of the Golan Heights is considered Syrian territory, but this is basically a border that Israel is sharing with Syria. Hang on just a moment, please. Sorry about that. We are back. Chris is going to be here in just a minute. The Golan Heights, what the area that was the West Bank. This is again in 1982, and Gaza, Jerusalem, kind of the center of the country. Tel Aviv would be roughly right in here, which is actually the capital, the official capital of the state of Israel, and we will go back to that map at times throughout the episode here, and hopefully we'll get Chris up here. It's in the chat, but not pinned at the top. Okay. Well, I failed on that. I thought I had it. All right. I'm sorry. No more experimenting. I'm not sure why the link's not showing. There it is. It should be in the chat because I just showed it from the chat. Oh, you're welcome, Lori Arnold. For those of us that are geographically chalkboard, challenged. All right. Geographically chalkboard. Don't think that I'm not going to remember that and be talking about that for a while. Okay. Trying to figure out why the link is not coming up for the link's not coming up for Chris. All right, I just posted it just now. It's not pinned at the top. No, it should be at the very bottom. It should be the last comment in the chat. I tried to pin it at the top, but I failed, obviously. It wouldn't be a show without something screwing up so that I could get upset. And for some reason, we can't get Chris up here. I might have to have him just call me and I'll just put him on speaker. You want to do that, Chris? Just call me and I'll put you on speaker if we can't get you on. Hey, man, I'm not sure what's happening.
Yeah, no, I'm on, man. I'm not sure what's happening.
Oh, we're going to get an echo.
Because I can't figure out. Oh, we're going to get an echo.
It's going to be. Okay, it's restream and chat.
Yeah. All I see is the restream. That's all there is.
Okay, all right. I'll figure it. I obviously we're live, and I'm the only one here. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can do it like this without a whole bunch of echo. It sounds like we can.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Let's get this. Let's get this on the road. New York City people, the residents of New York City were sent an alert over their phone from the mayor to be aware and to be alert for lone wolf extremists.
Right, and that's of course, if they do it properly, they're not going to leave any type of footprint. And they'll probably attack like supermarkets, anytime anywhere there's a large gathering of people, they would they'll tend to hit.
Soft targets with large groups of potential.
Yeah. You're looking at your soft targets where there's a whole lot of people. When we talk about soft targets, we're looking at places that really don't have any type of protection around it. So it's going to be easy for them to get into. But the thing about this is, and I've talked to a lot of security personnel in the United States, and I'm talking to them about employing countermeasures.
Right.
For exactly this type of thing. We talked about turning soft targets to hard targets. But no one's like, well, no, we're not going to, this is the time to start implementing this stuff. You see?
Yeah.
And you can always test it to see if it's actually working, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the same way with active shooters, right? You turn a soft target to a hard target. You were just going to employ countermeasures so that bad guy is kept outside and doesn't get inside, because that's the red zone, and that's where he's trying to shoot up everybody. So you want to keep them outside. And so if something happens, you want to neutralize them outside and not inside, because that's where everyone is. You see?
Yeah.
It's really common sense, but of course most people don't have common sense. So.
And before anybody starts poo-pooing this as being overreactorial or being, this is just a mayor of a liberal city who's freaking out, there's a legitimate concern because a call for world jihad has already gone out, and it's supposed to begin Friday, which is Friday the 13th, at basically after the noon Jama or the noon prayer, correct?
Right, it's Juma. So Friday is Juma in Islamic in Islamic faith. So Juma is Friday. So there's 5 prayers in Islam. So it can take place after any one of those prayers. You see.
Okay.
So the other thing, those are like the active shooters, the suicide bombers are like 2 of the biggest things that people have to be concerned about.
Active shooters and suicide bombers. And the active shooters.
Right now, they might come in teams. Okay.
Okay.
They might come in teams of they could come at 1, but they might come in as many as 4. Okay. 4.
Okay.
Suicide bomb just might be 1, or it could be 2, depending on what they want to do. You see how much damage they want to cause.
And
I think those are going to be the 2 biggest things right there. Because he was that was Khalid Mashal. And for those people that don't know who Khalid Mashal was, he was actually the founder of Hamas back in '87.
Khalid Mashal.
He was the one who, right? He's the one who was calling for that, for global jihad, right? And basically, what he was really talking about was martyrdom operations. If you read exactly what he's talking about, he's really talking about martyrdom operations. That's exactly what this guy talked about. So,
And he said I'm paraphrasing here from what you sent to me. He said now is the time to take jihad from philosophy and into the streets and to actually act on it.
Right. So he said from theory to should we say put into practice.
Yeah, from theory to practice. Yeah.
Right. So this is about to get real. And also something that he said. You remember I was talking to you in your audience about the Black Flags of Coruscant?
I was about to bring that up. Go ahead.
Right. So on Monday I talked about the Black Flags of Coruscant, and it was about the ISIS-K and then the Taliban. Well, he specifically said this. He talked about the Mujahideen making that caravan, creating that caravan from Afghanistan to Palestine. And I told you on Monday that their end state, their end goal was to end up in Jerusalem and take over Jerusalem and to push the Israelis out of Israel. That's what they're trying to do. So and that, of course, that's in the Hadith. That's one of the prophecies in the Hadith. As you can see, it's getting ready to play out. I know a lot of people don't believe in Islam. It's not about what you believe; it's about what they believe.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Talk about the significance. I mean, most of us are very familiar with the significance of the religious sites in Israel from the Jewish and Christian perspective, but the sites there are just as many significant sites for the Muslim faith within what is now Israel as well.
Right. So let me tell you my experiences. One of my experiences when I was in Israel, because I used to train with the Israeli police.
Right.
I was trained with Israeli police, as well as their internal security service. So I have all that stuff's inside the old city too. Okay. So let me just tell you a little bit about my experience and when I went there, and the people I went with there were other other police officers, because at the time I was DC police. There were other police officers from other agencies, and we went there to do our counterterrorism training. But when we went to the old city, we had a Yemeni Jew that was with us, and the Yemeni people from Yemen, they're like my complexion, like light brown skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was there in the old city, and we would get ready to go see Alaska Mosque. That's where we were going. And this Palestinian lady came up to me and she's like, "You're not like them. You're like us. You come to the mosque and pray with us." And she grabbed me by my arm and was pulling on me to get him, like, "Look, you got the wrong guy." And the Yemeni, our other Yemeni police officer was like, "Hey," he said something to her in Arabic and Hebrew, and she, went away. But here's the thing. Even though I'm a black American, they recognized me as almost one of their own.
Right.
Because I'm white.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you're not white.
back onto the some of the sites. Yeah, so you have Alaska Mosque and you have Dome of the Rock. Everyone see that big the gold, where that big gold dome is, and there's everyone seeing that.
Right.
So that's Dome of the Rock. Pretty sure it's Dome of the Rock.
Right.
So and then outside of that, in East Jerusalem, you have the Mount of Olives. So when Jesus returns, that's where he's going to return to. So me being there, I went there. So that's in East Jerusalem. A lot of Palestinians stay there. You see,
Mm-hmm.
but inside of the old city in Old Jerusalem, Alaska Mosque is like that's where all the Muslims go to pray. Right. So there's been a lot of trouble there between the Muslims and the Jews. Tons of problems there. A lot of the Jews don't want the Muslims, to be to come up there because this is like where the third temple is going to be built, supposedly. Right.
Right. Yeah,
So,
the Alaska Mosque and the Dome of the Rock are on what is known as Temple Mound, where the first two Jewish temples stood. The Alaska Mosque is towards the front of the mount, and then towards the back is the Dome of the Rock, covering the rock where Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven and left Earth. So it's the second holiest site behind Mecca, or maybe the third holiest. It's the second or third holiest site in all of Islam.
Right. So as you can see, there's a lot of fighting that occurs there.
Right.
See, right.
And if something happens to that mosque, that impacts Muslims worldwide.
Of course.
So anything happens inside Jerusalem is potentially worldwide explosive.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So and then that's pretty much inside the old city. It's Alaska Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. But like I said, outside where you go to East Jerusalem, you have the Mount of Olives, and that's there. That's actually pretty cool. But everything else is pretty much on the Christian side or the Jewish side, because you have the Wailing Wall that's there, and you usually just the Jewish people there at the Wailing Wall saying the prayers. It's pretty cool. So but back on the topic of the caravan from the Black Flag to Khorasan.
Right, coming from Afghanistan to spill their blood on Palestinian land.
Right. So once again, he's talking about martyrdom operations. Once you get to Jerusalem. Okay.
Once they get to Jerusalem. That's the goal.
Right. He says Palestine, but ultimately in the Hadith, it talks about it being Jerusalem. So it's a caravan, and I heard this one guy talk about that they're gonna fly them in. I'm like, dude, no. If you know what the Hadith says, then you know it's gonna be a caravan from Afghanistan all the way to Jerusalem, and it will not be stopped. It will not be stopped. So this is how I know that this stuff is real.
Okay. The King of Jordan came out today. Finally, we've been waiting to hear what he had to say. He said there will be no peace in the region until there is a two-state solution with East Jerusalem as the capital of Palestine. So that just shows even more how significant Jerusalem is and will be in the coming weeks as this all unfolds.
Right, but you know that God was not going to bring about peace.
No, and all this statement does is kind of shows which side the King of Jordan, where Jordan's going to come down, and they're not going to come down on the side of Israel. We didn't really expect them to, but they have been relatively friendly with Israel as far as relations go, but this changes everything.
Exactly. So that whole caravan,
Yeah.
that's a problem. And like I said, this is getting ready to happen. So people really need to like pay attention to this whole global jihad thing, because now it's serious. It's very real. Okay. And like I told you before, I'll let you guys know when something's real as opposed to, okay, well, you really don't need to worry about
where it's me speculating and being conspiratorial. When it's real, you'll let us know, and it's real.
And this is the time because it is real.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So from there, I want to talk a little about Hezbollah as well.
Okay. All right. Let me run through a couple of headlines, which will lead us into that. Drones and paratroopers from Lebanon going into northern Israel. Israel firing ammunition into southern Lebanon. The United States evacuates its embassy in Lebanon, and all U.S. citizens have been told to leave. And also, one other thing that came in that's the Negev Nuclear Research Center was hit with a missile. The nuclear reactor at that center was hit with a missile, supposedly, and there's actually an active attack on that site, shooting. But there has been a drone or missile strike on that nuclear plant, which is just it would be to the east of Jerusalem. So all of that leads us to, because when you say Lebanon, you're actually talking Hezbollah.
Right, that's Hezbollah territory. And I think I talked to you guys about this some time ago, that, Hezbollah, the political wing, there also has the military wing, just like Hamas. Hamas has a political branch, but also has a military branch. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty much, they're kind of like the same thing, but just one Shia, one Sunni. Now, Hezbollah has got a lot more power than Hamas does. Okay?
Right.
They got a lot more, they have a lot more rockets, and those rockets can definitely hit like all over Israel. No problem. Okay? But furthermore, Hezbollah is deep all over the world. From Africa to South America, right, to Europe, of course the Middle East.
All the BRICS countries, all the locations of the BRICS countries.
Hezbollah is deep. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was in Nigeria and even in Mali, I was like, what are all these Lebanese people doing here? I was like, there's just too many Lebanese people here. And you know what? 9 chances out of 10, I bet you they're funneling money to send back to Lebanon or Hezbollah. 9 chances out of 10, that's what they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. All over the continent of Africa. And I've seen it. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Lebanese speak French and Arabic. When you come to a West African country, you speak English. I don't think so, dude. No, that's wrong. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I expect them to see, I would expect them to be in places like Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, those Francophone countries, because they speak French.
Right.
That's the languages of Lebanon. Not English. But you'll see them. I saw them when I was in Ghana. I saw them when I was in Nigeria. Of course, I saw them when I was in Ghana. It's like, why would you people be here? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
But of course, so of course it really deals with the money, and that money is sent back to Lebanon. It could be sent back to Hezbollah too. But that's one of the reasons are where they are. But that also, I told you the other day on Monday that that Hezbollah was actually helping the cartels
in Mexico.
There. Yep. So,
pardon me again.
That's a very extensive criminal organization, right? Like I said, it's a very powerful criminal organization. You guys call them terrorist organizations. Yeah, it is, but it's also a criminal organization because of all the things that they do. But they're a very extremely powerful group, very powerful group.
Okay.
Which, they're connected to Iran. So it's like Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas. But furthermore, Hezbollah, and you said that the embassy, the U.S. embassy in Lebanon,
right?
They don't only employees to go. And guess what? Because Hezbollah will attack that U.S. embassy because of that global jihad. You see?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Syrian missiles into the Golan Heights, Hezbollah and Israeli Defense Forces fighting on the ground, Iranian militias moving to southern Syria. Everything you've just been talking about is coming up in headlines.
Yeah. So,
I mean, not in headlines on mass media, but you know what I'm saying, in my headlines.
Right. So the things that, like, for those militias in Iraq.
Right.
Okay, don't forget, we have our interest in Iraq. We have military bases there. Those military bases are going to start getting hit because of what Khalil Mashad said.
And the military bases, I've got a map up. The military bases are primarily in northern Iraq and in southern Iraq. From Baghdad north would be our military bases, and Baghdad south basically it has a lot of Iranian influence.
That's correct. That's correct. So because you have that Shia backing,
yeah,
they're going to go out and conduct those attacks. But no matter what, they're going to conduct those attacks because Hamas, Khalid Mashal, was what? He's a Sunni. He's a Sunni Muslim. But that global jihad went out to everybody.
Right. It's going to be Sunni and Shia both. It's not. They can hate each other when they don't have somebody else. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right. So did we? Because there's another group, the Houthi rebels.
Right. Yeah, we haven't talked about the Houthi. Are they on the? Are they in the Sinai? Are they in southern Jordan?
They're in Yemen.
They're in Yemen. Okay.
And they're talking about, if Israel and the United States continues to do what they're doing, we're going to start launching missiles to Israel. So, this is a big mess. Okay, so, and because eventually Israel is actually going to be surrounded, because all you have to do, everything's coming from the north. You got the south.
Lebanon from the north. You've got Yemen coming, and Saudi Arabia or Jordan aren't going to stand in the Yemen coming from the south. Syria coming basically from the east.
Mm-hmm.
And then Iran comes in after everybody else is engaged, and Israel's getting low on supplies or whatever. Then Iran comes in.
Exactly. So Israel's actually going to be surrounded by all Muslims.
Right. Yeah. And we've got the USS Gerald R. Ford, the biggest warship in the world, has already made it off of the coast of Israel and has actually conducted the first flights off its decks.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So we talked about these Muslim countries surrounding Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about the whole Niger thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
see how the Muslims, Sunni and Shia, have come together to gang up against Israel.
Right.
The same thing could have happened for Niger. If France would have attacked Niger, the Muslims would have rallied around Niger.
Mm-hmm. And gone after France.
Right, and brought that fight right to France.
Yeah, and I thought that was what was going to happen. I thought that was where it was heading. Thankfully, it didn't, but that's where I thought it was going to head. Talking about aircraft carriers, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower has been ordered to head at full speed to the Eastern Mediterranean, possibly Friday or Saturday of this week, to either back up or replace the Ford. The Eisenhower is currently in port, but a British aircraft carrier and also the USS George Washington aircraft carrier both left that same port today, and not sure where they're heading. So one more carrier news: a carrier strike force is heading to South Korea. They should be there tomorrow. This is because the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff have contacted us and told us that they have intelligence that North Korea is preparing a surprise attack similar to what Hamas did to Israel.
Wow.
And to top it all off, U.S. Special Forces are on high alert, supposedly in Greece, and they're there in preparation of getting U.S. hostages out. This is according to two senior U.S. officials.
Oh, getting hostages
out of Gaza.
Okay, so all right, so this is what I got. So
all right.
I heard that Combat Applications Group, that group, it's Naval Special Warfare Development Group, and I think one of the IDF's, one of their special forces units, are actually going to speak about bringing those hostage rescue operations. So, and for those of you, when I say like Combat Applications Group, that's Delta, and I talk about Navy Special Warfare Development Group. That's going to be SEAL Team 6, and then the Israeli IDF, their special forces guys are going to supposedly be conducting hostage rescue operations, and that's something that I saw. Now, how true it is, I don't know, but that was reported, and I'm just passing on to you guys. So,
yeah, and apparently 20 Americans have not been accounted for at this time in Israel. They're presumed to either be hostages or deceased in unknown locations.
Yeah. So, they take these hostages and they're probably in some tunnel somewhere, and you got to, find those tunnels and find those hostages. That's going to be really difficult. That's a difficult mission,
Mm-hmm.
For the U.S. and for the Israelis, that's going to be really difficult. But today I saw that, I think it was the imams that did hostage rescue, and that's like the imam is pretty much like our Delta, and they did a hostage rescue, in southern Israel, and I think they neutralized all the Hamas operatives and brought out the two elderly hostages. So that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's okay if we talk about something that kind of like, it still bothers me, and it's the intelligence. Everyone's saying that there was an intelligence failure.
It was an ignoring intelligence. It wasn't a failure.
Right. They ignored that. Like I said, they allowed that to occur. And I told you the reasons why. And for those that didn't listen on Monday, the reason why they allowed this to occur is they had to bring Israel back together. All right. And actually reported today that Netanyahu is up to say, the government is unified, Israel is now unified. And I said, see?
And they're calling it a war cabinet.
Right. You see?
Yeah. Yeah, it's what you said Monday, that that they're going to have to rally behind Bibi in order to to make this work, and he seems to have brought all parties to the table as far as giving them permission to do whatever they want. And with that being said, I kind of want to get into this as we head towards the wrap up. The Israeli defense minister announced, quote, an abolition of all rules of war, and also said no buildings will remain standing in Gaza, only tents.
Yeah, you see, I think I talked about that on Monday too. I told you they're going to level that place, didn't I?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I knew they're going to do. I said they're going to level that place, and they're going to make it so that like no Palestinian can live there. They're going to push them all out to Egypt or wherever they're going to put them, but they're going to push them all out, because I told you that was their whole goal from the very beginning, was to get rid of the Palestinians.
Okay, now as a soldier, talk about what it means as far as humanity when you abandon all rules of engagement. There are no rules of engagement. It's an abolition of all rules of war. So there are no rules of engagement. Talk about that from a soldier perspective.
You just go kill
Everybody, women, children, anybody's an enemy.
Everybody goes.
Everybody goes. And we've got reports even from NPR, National Public Radio, of white phosphorus. You had mentioned rumors of sarin gas. Sarin gas, as far as I know, sarin gas hasn't been used widespread since like World War I. And it's like Israel and the United States are the only ones that have supply of it. That's how lethal and inhumane this stuff is.
Well, the white phosphorus isn't like, that's really bad too.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it just burns forever. It's really hard to put out. If you get any on you, it'll burn. It'll burn you forever.
It'll burn right through you.
Exactly. So, like, the Israelis are really not playing around at all. And like I said, there's not going to be like any human rights. The Israeli military has their marching orders. Get rid of these people. That's it.
Whoa.
We're not going to put any charges. Nothing. It doesn't even matter. Get rid of them.
And
because what they're saying is this will never happen again. You see?
Yeah. On Sunday night, you came on Monday night. On Sunday night, on the show Sunday night, I said I'd been hearing from Washington D.C. that that nukes were not at all off the table in Israel. As a matter of fact, they were considering nuking Gaza and possibly nuking Iran. And I couldn't understand how they could risk the spread of radiation into their own country by nuking Gaza. But I guess with tactical nukes, you can indeed limit the radiation spread. And then today you kind of heard that Netanyahu was talking about a doomsday nuke just wiping all of Gaza off the map. Now, as long as they've got troops around that area, that's not going to happen, I don't think. But if there's a sudden withdrawal of all Israeli military from near the Gaza Strip, I'd say there's a nuke coming.
Right. Then you're 100% correct. that there would be a new coming. Right? You pull all your people out, okay, hit them, and just watch what happens. Right? Now you've done the white phosphorus thing, and like Netanyahu said, you know, we're gonna level it. I want you to turn to a 10 city. So, like I said, the Israelis are dead serious on putting the Palestinian out. Period. They're just gonna eliminate them altogether.
And as Israel's staunchest ally, we thus become target 1A, or I'm sorry, target 1B instead of 1A, with the Jewish people in Israel being target 1A, and any white person basically, but especially Americans, 1B. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, of course. So there's a primary target and there's a secondary target, right? Israel and Israelis are the primary targets, and we're secondary targets, right? Just because what Israel is our baby brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right now Israel is hammering the Palestinians. So they're like, okay, well that's your brother, and we're gonna get hit, but we're gonna get since you're there, we're gonna get you too.
And right now our presence is, we are playing our presence as, we are here as a deterrent. We're here to make sure Iran or Syria or anybody else doesn't mess with Israel while Israel is messing with Hamas and the Palestinians.
Right. Well, I think Putin said, you brought those carriers in there, and he's like, no one's afraid of you. And I think one of those Islamic groups said the same thing.
Yeah, Hezbollah said the same thing. Yeah.
Right. So, like I said, those ships there for deterrence, but we'll see how much of a deterrence it really is. It's really not going to be one though.
Okay.
You know that, right?
Now, they're there for a deterrence, but again, putting on the slime ball politician, mindset, are they not also there as a potential target, so that if we get struck, that gives us the legitimization to do whatever it is we really want to do, just like Israel is doing now?
True, that's very true. But and with that, you got to remember that they're going to come back at us, okay? Back in the States, and we have our interests globally, and Hamas is global, okay?
Yeah.
So South America, you have all these embassies, you have a whole bunch of U.S. citizens walking around, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be targets. They're targets. People coming out of the embassies, people going into the embassies, they're targets, right?
Right. And just in kind of a wrap up here, speaking of targets, just because the call for jihad has gone out and is supposed to start at noon on Friday, or after any one of the could happen after any one of the prayers, doesn't mean it's going to all immediately kick off everywhere around the world all at once. Okay, don't get that idea, but start looking for it kicking off after that time. And it's not that it can't kick off before then, but just after that time, watch for an increase in activity literally all around the world, because they are global.
Exactly. You see, and that's the thing. It's like it's one big family. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you got one family jumping on top of another family, but the Muslim family is really, really big. The United States family, it's big, but it's not as big as the Muslim family, you see?
Yeah.
And yes, Americans are all over the place, but there's a lot more Muslims in the world than there are, like, American people.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So, and like I said, when Khalid Bashar called for that global jihad, I was like, that's a problem. So, like I said, to people that are listening to your audience, the audience, you really need to pay attention to what's going on.
And
because now, it's real.
And I want to add something. You said suicide bombers. You said shooters.
Active shooters.
Do what?
The active shooters.
Active shooters. Right. Yeah. I'm going to throw in dirty bombs.
You can put that in there.
Okay. Okay.
Put that there.
All right.
But the suicide bombers, yeah.
And the active shooters.
The active shooters, I think those are going to be the two biggest threats.
And they're not going to tell us they're coming. That don't wait for warnings. Just start being. There aren't going to be any warnings. Start being vigilant now.
Exactly.
And if you're an American and you're overseas, be extra vigilant.
Exactly.
All right, man. Hey, since the call for jihad is, are you busy Friday night?
Friday night? I don't think so.
All right. If you are, that's cool. If not, we'll do this Friday night at 9, because I'm certain there's going to be more stuff that happens in the next 48 hours.
No problem.
All right.
We'll do it then. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll work on the online stuff back here on the computer and see if we can figure out why we couldn't get you on the screen.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for being adaptive, man, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
All right, bye.
Good night.
All right. That was Chris, everybody. Thank you. Again, Israel, Jordan, Iraq. This is Saudi Arabia. Zoom out a little bit here. Syria and Egypt. Zoom out a little bit more. Afghanistan, Turkey, Yemen. All countries you're going to be hearing about. Gives you an idea where they're all at. Greece. The reason I said that the special forces on high alert, because we've got a lot of military bases in Greece, and it's a really quick flight from Greece to Israel. So a lot in this episode. We've gone a little longer than we normally do, but that's because there's a lot in it. We're going to keep it under an hour. Not going away. Posted. Go to ready.gov. Just gives you some basics, some things that you might want to consider having on hand in case anything might happen, whether it be a natural disaster, a weather-related event, or there's an awful lot of talk about surprise attacks going on in the information underground, if you will, and I don't think we should discount that possibly happening to us and catching us incredibly off guard and crippling our entire country. I hope it doesn't happen, but when we get spread out, if China moves on Taiwan and we're engaged there, if North Korea moves on South Korea and we're engaged there, if we're engaged in Eastern Europe and Russia and Ukraine, if we're engaged in the Middle East, if Africa kicks off, because Chris and I have been focused there, doesn't mean there's not still tension going on down there. There is, and we're keeping our eyes on all this thing, but you're talking about 5 or 6 different fronts. And while we might be able to handle it all, it's going to leave us incredibly weakened here at home. Just something to think about. All right. Namaste. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Blessings from the Most High upon each and every one of you that so desire them. Peace. Positive vibrations. Love y'all like big old giant chocolate chip cookies. And it is indeed a dark world. Try to be a light. Thank you for being here. We'll be back, if not before. We'll be back Friday night at 9 with Chris or without, depending on. He's a busy dude, got a lot of things going on. And thank you, Lori Arnold. Thank you. I guess not going away. Thank you, of course, for everything. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all in the chat. Always be kind. Thank you all. We'll do this again very soon. And until then, be blessed and do try to be a light. And this time it's for real.